It's over a month since I put down roots here at River Cottage. Now that I'm a Dorset downsizer, the city smoke seems a million miles away, and there's not a cling-wrapped chicken in sight. I used to hate getting out of bed in the morning. These days it's complete bliss. Every morning I can see my vegetables are a bit higher, my pigs are a little bit fatter, and look forward to a day devoted almost entirely to my stomach. Right now I'm thinking about fish, and in particular the pike, that famous predator known for his ability to ambush unsuspecting smaller fish, but also thought to be partial to the odd duckling. And with this in mind, I've been working on a prototype artificial lure. Meet Daffy, the killer duckling. Before I can put Daffy to the test, there's just time to walk over the grounds, which extend to almost a third of an acre. I'm developing what's quite probably a rather unhealthy obsession with my vegetables at the moment. I'm out here 2 or 3 times a day, checking just to see if there's an extra inch of growth or millimetre of growth, or to see whether some horrible beastie's been nibbling at my leaves. But these 2 beds, which were just about the first 2 we planted, are doing fantastically well. The 2 types of potato, the pink fir apple over here, and the ratty, are looking very, very bushy and green, and the sort of leafy greens at the back, the perpetual spinach and the Swiss chard, they don't seem to mind this rainy weather at all. Already my bulb fennel is flourishing, and I should get some fine cobs on these sweet corn. The courgettes are coming on well, and my runner bean shoots are reaching for the sky. But not everything's rosy in my little plot. This was my second crop of broad beans. It was just coming up quite nicely until this morning when I got up and I just noticed this. They've just been pulled up, and I don't know if it's mice, which I know I've got in the house, or squirrels, which I've seen around the garden. It's a malicious act, wanton vandalism, destruction, without any nutritive benefit. Why? I'm very upset. This battle with garden pests is causing me unexpectedly high levels of stress. It's almost as bad as having a desk job. Still, at least I get to spend the rest of the day fishing. I'm off to the River Piddle to meet up with keeper John Applin. John manages the pike population here to allow the wild brown trout to thrive, an exercise in vermin control which could provide me with a fish supper free of charge. I have to confess, John, I'm a bit of a fetishist when it comes to artificial lures. Recently, I had a bit of a kind of eureka in the bath, and I was thinking about this idea that pike sometimes take ducklings, and it's inspired my latest prototype.
That's certainly different, and it would obviously squeak when you got a take.
How about that?
Wonderful. So who's watching it, you could fish in the dark.
You could fish for pike in the dark. That's a brilliant idea.
I'd love to see you catch something on that. No, I think it's worth a try here.
Just along again that edge of slightly deeper water.
Definitely. It's a good spot.
You ready with your landing net?
I am. Always ready.
Just close to the edge.
That's it. Ooh, spot on.
This looks like a duckling struggling with his first swimming lesson.
I think another cast across there. I thought we saw something move under the weed over there.
You're just saying that to get me excited. For some reason, Daffy fails to stimulate the pike's attack response. My clockwork Mr. Toad fares no better, and when Ratty also fails to do the biz, I realise it may be time to hand over to John and more traditional methods.
Right, we're going to use a smelt as bait. Similar to a sprat, but a little bit bigger. And a delicacy to pike. Apparently they taste and smell of cucumbers.
Let's have a sniff. Smells a bit fishy to me.
Yeah, it does to me. 1 or 2 big pike in a trout water don't do any harm at all. In fact, they keep the small pike down.
So what do you call a small pike?
Well, a small pike is anything really under 7 pounds.
Which happens to be quite a good eating size, actually.
So I hear.
So you get me one in the £5 to £10 range, I'll be very happy.
Well, we'll see what we can do. We'll try this slack bit over here, I think, in case... The thing to do when you're fishing a bait like this in a pool is to try every...
Yeah,
we're in. Look at that.
My God!
We've got a pike.
God, it's a good
Look at that.
well.
Good one. Oh.
Brilliant. There's that net.
It's heading off back into the pool.
You should let him go if he wants to go on another.
That's it. Got to watch them when they shake their heads like that, because those hooks can come flying out.
Bring him in now.
Yeah, I think he's ready for the net now. Better get him in before he has second thoughts. Okay, well done, that man.
Oh,
wonderful.
God, it's heavy. What a beauty.
Lovely jump.
What a great fish. Fantastic condition.
Beautiful. That is a super fish.
So when did you last eat a pike then?
About 20 years ago.
20 years ago?
Yeah, I've thought about it recently, but I've not bothered.
So you're going to take a bit of converting?
I think so, yeah.
Well,
yeah.
This is definitely the fish to do it with.
Good.
Lovely.
Good.
Before I can get on with the job of converting John to pike, there's the pig's supper to see to. And they don't need much converting to their feed. About the only problem at the moment is that they're so in love with this stuff, they keep turning up their snouts at my kitchen leftovers, which is a shame because this stuff costs money. Still, regular feeds, fresh bedding and water seems to keep them happy. But there's still the occasional bid for freedom.
Oi! Ah! No, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Come on. Come on. Come on, Charlie. In you get. Come on. Come on, Charlie. Oh, yes.
You do come across recipes for pike that seem to be aimed at disguising the fact that you're eating a pike. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to celebrate this fish in all its glory, because only that way will John become convinced that this really is a good eating fish. So I'm not going to use very powerful flavours, just a few herbs from the garden, bay leaf, a few sliced onions, and a little bit of lemon zest. These nice aromatic flavourings should just complement, not kill the taste of the fish. I'm cooking an intense, full-on, rather old-fashioned cold concoction of jellied pike. The pike is placed in a fish kettle with a few more onion slices, sprigs of fennel, parsley, lemon zest, bay leaves and water. A whole bottle of wine completes the court bouillon, which is brought to the boil and simmered for 10 minutes. The pike is removed once it's cooled completely in the cooking liquid. Its large head and thick skin provide an excellent source of natural gelatin. So this is the moment when we start to find out some of the bizarre secrets of the pike anatomy. The first cut just goes along the lateral line of the fish. Once we've worked through there, we can have a go at this skin. It's incredibly thick, almost leathery on a pike, but it should come off very easily. Look at that. You can make handbags out of that. It's a lovely bit of meat. I'm as happy having this in front of me as I would be having a 10-pound salmon. I think it looks great. And the difference with a pike is whereas with most fish you'd have a lovely boneless fillet now, with this, in between every little flake along this muscle, there's a wicked little bone which has to be removed. Look at that. Vicious things. And on a smaller fish too fiddly to be worth bothering with. But with these nice big fillets, they're actually quite easy to remove. The bone-free fish flakes are separated out and then tossed with plenty of finely chopped parsley. This is the liquid that the pike was poached in, strained through muslin and reduced to about 1/10 of its former volume. So it's strong in taste, and it's also going to have enough concentrated gelatin to set when I put it in this mould. So the whole thing comes together very easily. At the bottom of each mould, just put a little sprig of fennel and just a couple of handfuls of boneless pike, and this just gets ladled over. And that's the story of the pike, ugly and vicious in life, beautiful and delicate in death. After a few hours in the fridge, the liquid has set firm and the moulds of jellied pike are turned out and served up with a few salad leaves. It looks a bit different from when it came out the river. I want you to see what it tastes like. Because you said to me, pike is muddy, bony and not worthwhile. So
Absolutely.
have a go at that.
Yeah, that's much better than I expected. I think I would even go to the stage where I'd actually cook this for a dinner party.
Would you really? Well, I'll give you the recipe. But the pike has the last laugh. I knew there'd be one. Have you had any yet? Look at that.
Well, funnily enough,
We got one each.
got one each.
You've nearly finished. Was that your
I
only
nearly
bone?
finished. That was my only one. Yeah, only little fella.
I
Probably
thought-
wouldn't have hurt if I'd have swallowed that one.
I heard it was too much to hope that it would be completely bone-free.
Must have taken hours of deboning this dish.
Well, obviously not enough. Traditionally, July is the month for jam making, an activity I certainly wouldn't want to miss out on. Well, welcome to my fruit garden. Isn't it pathetic? A measly total of 7 blackcurrants on this bush. All I've been able to do with it is make a few cups of blackcurrant leaf tea. Refreshing, but not a lot of consolation for a completely failed harvest. This is a little bit more like it. This is a proper, grown-up blackcurrant bush. At Ford Abbey Fruit Farm, a group of students from Eastern Europe have come for the picking season as casual labour. I've struck a deal with the management. I can join the pickers for a day and be paid in fruit. Strict quality controls apply, and Dave the foreman is on raspberry patrol.
I'm going to show you what fruit to pick and what not to pick. The thing is, we're picking class 1 fruit for supermarkets, so you've got to make sure that you've got a nice pink fruit, and as you pick it, it comes off, it feels firm in the hand. What you can actually do, if you look at the fruit like that, make sure there's no marks on it, okay? And nice and pink. That
So
goes into those trays.
I have to inspect each one individually.
Yeah, it's preferred.
So what is the rule about eating while you pick?
You can eat them if you want.
That's all right, is
Yeah,
it?
the overripe ones.
Okay.
Not too many of the ripe.
Luckily, anything that I'd call a ripe raspberry is far too juicy for the supermarkets, so I get to scoff it. I've filled 2 whole trays with raspberries, but before the weigh-in, I ask my comrades Svetlana and Dacia to cast their expert eyes over my bulging punnets.
Very bad.
It's very bad?
Yes. Bad. What is this?
That one should never got in. No, okay, forget that
Yes.
one.
This is too much red.
Okay, that's too unripe.
This also bad.
What's wrong with that?
Oh no, it's not good.
You can eat.
Okay.
No.
Don't throw them all away.
Oh.
Please, girls, leave me some.
No, no, no.
Oh, I have to pick some more now.
Yes. You must pick full box.
Well, that's because you threw half of them away. Right, well, I'm off to see Dave. Wish me luck.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good weight. Yeah, borderline quality.
Borderline.
Yeah, but they're okay.
I'm being paid in fruit, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah, we've been told. Thanks very much.
Last off the field with my fruit quota, I almost missed the tractor back to camp and the chance of another free meal. Thank you. Back at base, there are bellies to fill. And on kitchen detail, Oksana and Natasha have been busy making a Ukrainian borщ. Is it ready? That's what I want to know. Yeah? Can I have a taste?
Please.
Beautiful taste. Sweet. So what exactly is in that?
Chicken, potato, carrot, beetroot, and water, and tomato.
It's incredibly tasty.
We know.
You know,
Yes.
confident cooks. I'm hoping that they're not going to get too bloated on borch, because I'm in charge of the pudding. And what I've decided to do is use some of the black currants that I picked. But there's one little sentimental thing I have to do before I go on with this dish. This is the River Cottage crop. There's only 7 of them, but they mean an awful lot to me. Next to black currants, I've been cooking a custard. This is a real egg custard. Real eggs, real cream. It's still quite warm. I wanted to cool off because this is going to be cold custard, warm blackcurrant syrup, and there's one third element that brings this whole thing together. A little bit ambitious perhaps for a campsite kitchen. It has to be done at the last possible moment, so I'm going to come back to it a bit later on. The borch gets a good dollop of sour cream before being served up to the workers in our luxurious collective canteen. You have more than me.
Oh,
you have a much bigger bowl. No, it's okay. It's good, eh?
Yeah.
The final stage of pudding is fluffy meringue islands to float on my custard sea. They're flavoured with a dash of strong coffee, which goes beautifully with blackcurrants. The meringue is then shaped into oval mounds or quenelles using 2 tablespoons. And the islands are poached in a pan of gently simmering water. And we need some more. Whoa! After a couple of minutes, they puff up beautifully and are carefully placed on a pool of the cooled custard. The floating islands are decorated with a drizzle of the sieved, sweetened blackcurrants, and the final touch, a handful of fat raspberries.
Oh, it looks very pretty.
Preparing pud for 20 hungry pickers has cost me half my fruit wages, so my jam making plans will just have to wait.
Яно, ти кохана дівчина моя, разом будемо з тобою, тільки ти і я. Будемо кохатися все життя, будемо поруч я і ти, тільки трохи підростила.
Early morning, and the latest River Cottage project is making a home for the next incoming livestock. It's serious fox country round here, so when you're building a chicken run, there's no half measures. I've got 6 foot of chicken wire here, which should just about keep them from jumping over. But foxes are also great burrowers. So about every 8 inches along here, I've been hammering in tent pegs, which I hope is going to keep them out. I'm heeding an old Dorset saying, dead chickens don't lay eggs.
Come on! Come on! Come on!
Frank Biddlecombe has a way with animals and keeps a small holding of lambs, geese and goats. But I'm here strictly on fowl business. So how many eggs a day do you get off these?
I get 13 a day of them.
Of how many chickens?
13.
Really? So that's one
egg.
Chicken, 1 egg per day?
Per day.
Guaranteed?
Well, I don't know about that. Don't guarantee anything in this trade.
Right. What are the possible complications I should look out for?
Sometimes you get egg bounce.
What's that mean?
You know, get like constipated.
Oh right, they can't get the egg out.
Get the egg out.
So what do I have to do to sort that out?
Give it some cod raw or something.
Cod liver oil?
Yeah, in with the food. And
it slips out a treat after
it makes it come out freely.
Apparently, Rhode Island Reds are the most reliable layers, but you've got to catch them first. It's hot in there. I couldn't resist grabbing 3 pretty-looking bantams as well, taking my tally of layers to 6. But if I want to prevent my flock from flying away, I'll have to learn how to clip their wings.
I'll clip over about that much.
Just the ends there?
Just the ends.
Is that all right?
Yep. Just along there.
And they don't mind that?
No.
Doesn't seem to bother her?
No, not bother. Only on the ends. If you cut back in here, see if you get right in tight there, you get the blood.
Right, so it's
And
just the ends there.
Just the ends. You'll be alright.
That'll stop her getting over the top. Just the one wing?
Just the one wing. When they take off, they go round sideways.
Flies in circles.
Fly in circles. Okay.
With a bevy of good-looking birds in tow, it's back to River Cottage.
Well, I'm really thrilled with my birds, and I'm very excited at the prospect of having my own eggs. But I am beginning to think I might have got a little bit carried away. If I'm going to have 6 eggs 7 days a week, then I'm going to have to start thinking of some seriously eggy recipes. Chick, 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 chicken, lay a little egg for me. Chick, 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 chicken, I want one for my tea.
The next morning, it's straight out to see if my girls are delivering the goods. Anyone fancy coming out? Yes. Why not? Now, any chance of an egg this morning? Yes! Fantastic. Now that's one of you little ladies. Look at that. Look at that. My first egg. Yes. What a morning. Not only my first egg, but my first courgette. It feels like my first million. My first creation using River Cottage produce is going to be a 1 courgette, 1 egg soufflé. The sliced courgette is gently cooked in olive oil and hot milk is poured onto a roux of butter and flour to make a bechamel sauce. Vigorous stirring avoids the dreaded lumps. I guess I've probably cracked tens of thousands of eggs in my life, but none with such eager anticipation as this one. Wow, look at the colour of that yolk. That is lovely. The courgette is softening up nicely while I whisk the egg white. Then the pulpy courgette is combined with the bechamel, the egg yolk and a handful of grated cheddar to create a nice sticky mixture. The key to a light and fluffy soufflé is maximum air, so the egg white is briskly but carefully folded in. The mixture is then placed in a ramekin dish greased with butter and lined with a sprinkling of Parmesan cheese. It's cooked in a hot oven for 15 minutes. Well, if this is a taste of things to come, it's going to be a fantastic harvest. Thanks, girls.